having to deal with the invasion of his ICE agents, his CBP agents, and potentially of federalized National Guard who don't know anything.
Donald Trump is effectively shutting down the House of Representatives. And why?
Because they don't want to extend health care tax credits to working Americans.
You're going to be facing extraordinary increases in your premiums.
Because when any American is uninsured, we all end up spending more.
It'll be unaffordable. Doesn't have to be that way.
Our job is to keep America moving.
My Democratic colleagues and I are ready to go to work.
Democrats are ready to work with Republicans.
Ready to save health care.
Democrats are going to stand up for the health care of Americans.
Republicans, you've been on vacation for far too long.
Speaker Johnson.
Speaker Johnson. Speaker Mike Johnson, it's time for us to do our jobs.
Reopen government.
Open up government.
We need to reopen the government.
On terms that save your health care and end those cuts. Stay tuned.
Republicans control the White House and both chambers of Congress, and they're about to let millions of Americans go hungry. States are already issuing notices that SNAP is about to run out of funds. Nearly 600,000 people in Colorado rely on SNAP to feed their families. That means kids across our state, across the country, are going to go hungry if they lose their food assistance. It means that states may be forced to cover these costs. Now, back when I was governor of Colorado, we balanced our budget every year. To tell governors to pull money out of nowhere to fulfill promises the federal government has already made is absurd. We know that this will have cascading effects on everything from education to our public lands to critical services. But that's exactly what the White House is banking on. The president is using kids and families as leverage instead of working with Democrats to solve the healthcare crisis and reopen this government. Between his cuts to clean energy funding and stripping 15 million Americans of their health insurance, President Trump is using the shutdown as an excuse to hurt working families even more. Enough is enough. Let's reopen the government, restore SNAP benefits, and make healthcare more affordable for Americans.
Let's welcome back to the show from House Intelligence, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, it's great to see you again. What's your reaction to this? Can the president get congressional authorization to hit their drug smuggling routes on land in Venezuela? Because Democrats are pushing back on all of this.
Well, for right now, he's got them designated as foreign terrorist organizations. So the president has the authority to do this. I'm sure the Democrats want to go back in and find a way to dismantle this. But, you know, what Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, just said is really important. You know, they're killing Americans. They're profiting off of, you know, these illicit drugs, getting them into our mainland. And, you know, this is Iran backed Maduro in Venezuela. So you're seeing what they're doing to try to undermine our country from Venezuela, from the southern hemisphere here, South America. So I think that the president is looking for, if they continue to go out and they continue to send them out on the seas, he's going to look to see if we can have assets on the land. CIA is looking at this. These are probably operations. I can't talk about intelligence, but these are probably operations coming out of a command center. So we know who they are. We know they're terrorist organizations. We know they're cartels. We know that they're organized crime. And the president's going to eradicate them.
Let's get your reaction to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and what you just said. Watch.
Bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. If you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
And drug usage is way down. And drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boats heading away. You know, they're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and that's the end of them. So the ocean drugs and the sea drugs by sea, they call it also, that's almost down to nothing, as you can imagine.
So the Secretary of State says they know that these are drug boats. They've tracked them. They've tracked where they're coming from. But the media and Democrats are saying some of these are fishing boats. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think that's absurd. We obviously know that. We have the intelligence to do that. We have all kinds of space assets that can help us with that. And if you've ever been in a command center, the command center goes through a long process before they even authorize a strike. So it's probably been weeks that they've been analyzing a particular boat or vessel that's coming across. So they know exactly who they're dealing with. They know their cartel members. And it's interesting, this is a huge problem. I just toured rural hospitals all over my district. You know what the number one problem in these emergency rooms are, which are bankrupting our hospitals in rural areas? It's people coming in under the influence of drugs, people with mental health problems that are being taken advantage of. This is how they're profiting off us and undermining our communities, even up in rural upstate New York.
Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, that was really interesting information, a great interview. Thank you so much.
On September 19th, I joined my colleagues in the House of Representatives to pass the Continuing Appropriations and Extensions Act of 2026, a straightforward, bipartisan, 7-week stopgap bill that simply keeps the government funded at current levels through November 21st. No gimmicks, no poison pills, just a responsible path forward while long-term funding negotiations continue. Yet the Senate Democrats refuse to act. The human cost of this unnecessary gridlock is staggering. Across the country, 1.9 million federal civilian employees are facing delayed paychecks. Another 1.3 million active duty service members and over 100,000 federal law enforcement officers are about to go unpaid. While President Trump is doing his best to pay our troops and keep critical services running, the consequences of the Democrats' shutdown are growing. Programs like WIC are set to run out of funding, threatening nutrition support for nearly 7 million women and children. The Small Business Administration has stopped processing new loans, stalling job creation and slowing economic growth. Meanwhile, public health inspections like drug approvals are being delayed or brought to a standstill, putting safety and lives at risk. Each week, this shutdown drains $15 billion from our national GDP. And the impact on California is especially severe, as our state is home to the 4th largest economy in the world. This month alone, California has taken a $9 billion hit to our GDP. Over 5 million Californians who rely on SNAP, including 2 million children, are facing service disruptions. Consumer spending is down by $3.3 billion. These aren't just random numbers. They represent our neighbors, friends, and families who are now suffering because of Senate Democrats' partisan demands. Parents are missing paychecks. Small business owners are losing access to capital. Entire communities across California are being pushed to the brink. This shutdown is more than just a political standoff. It's a crisis caused by a choice Senator Schumer has made, felt deeply across the Golden State. The time to open our government is now.
California Congressman and member of the House Oversight Committee, Khanna. First of all, I tried to do my best to explain, with the help of our amazing producers, what exactly the background of Zhao is here and this company that got this hit and the guy who got this pardon today. But what do you make of today's pardon? And what did I miss, if anything?
Well, you did a very good job, but this is just blatant corruption. You have a criminal who was engaged in money laundering, getting money to Hamas, getting money to Iran, getting money to terrorists, having child traffickers launder money. And he was convicted. He paid a $4 billion fine. And then he supported the Trump family crypto business. And basically, for supporting that Trump stablecoin, has bought himself a pardon. It is so bad that Joe Lonsdale, one of Trump's biggest supporters in tech, says, I am embarrassed by it. You have crypto leaders who supported Trump saying they are embarrassed by this, and this is tarnishing the entire industry. It's the first time I've seen tech leaders who supported Trump actually turning on him or saying something negative about him. And you ask, what can we do about it, Jen? How about more tech leaders, more crypto leaders start speaking out about how awful and corrupt this is?
Maybe they could call some Republican members of Congress on the House Oversight Committee and get them to do something. So let me ask you about that. I mean, in a town where there's not always a ton of bipartisanship, especially in this environment, there has been some bipartisan work from the House Oversight Committee, obviously on the Epstein files. What could the committee do here if there was a will to do it? And do you think, I mean, you mentioned a bunch of tech leaders who supported Trump. Do you think there could be a will to do something to investigate this or take actions that are within the powers of the committee?
Absolutely. For all James Comer has lectured about the pardon power and the abuse of it, and let's be honest, the presidents of both parties abused it, but not to this level. We should have an investigation, and that investigation should have Binance before our committee. We should have an investigation about what Binance did to support the Trump family's stable coins. We should invite people from the crypto industry to testify about what's really going on. And let's have a bipartisan consensus that you shouldn't be an elected official able to have meme coins, able to have stable coins, able to have foreign governments buy your stable coins and increase your value. Like, how are we not outraged by this, that any foreign government can basically put money in the president's family's bank account and get something in exchange? I think that people think this is a tech issue. This is not a tech issue. This is a corruption issue. This is money that's going into someone in the White House and the White House having official acts like pardons in exchange.
No question. And not to mention, we have no idea who's contributing to the destruction of the East Wing and the rebuilding of the now growingly expensive ballroom, right? Or even all the people who donated to his transition campaign. We still don't know how much money is even left from that. There's people are paying to play here all over the place. Let me ask you about something else. Well, I have you here. I mean, today MSNBC reported that the federal prosecutor in charge of investigating Senator Adam Schiff told her superiors that she doesn't believe there's enough there to move forward with the case. But the special prosecutor Trump put in charge of all of these cases against his enemies, Ed Martin, is pushing to keep the case alive anyway. I mean, what do you make of that coming the same day? This is all coming in the same day, right? The same day that Trump pardons an actual criminal.
I'm just sad. I mean, look, Adam Schiff is a patriot. Anyone who knows him knows he's a patriot. And he's having to raise money for a legal defense fund. And this is a part of intimidation. Look, this is what they did in other countries where one government comes in and then they basically prosecute everyone in the oppositional party. I never thought we'd see this in America. But Trump is just on a retribution of politics where he's going after Comey, he's going after Bolton, he's going after Schiff, and he's pardoning people who helped him. It's corrupt, and it's time that people in Silicon Valley who enabled some of this wake up and realize that this is, you want to destroy the free market, you want to destroy American competitiveness, this is how you do it, by eroding the rule of law. And I hope some business leaders will start to speak up.
Hope so, too. This is the moment. Congressman Khanna, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it.
Shutdowns are terrible. Of course, there will be families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have. You've heard that 3 times now. A direct quote from the number 2 Democrat in the House, Katherine Clark. Meanwhile, in Massachusetts, which is Katherine Clark's home state, 45,000 federal workers are being forced to figure out how they're going to pay their bills next week. More than 1 million SNAP enrollees and 123,000 women, infant, and children who require nutritional assistance, they're going to be impacted, Katherine. Telehealth services and a home hospital program have been put on pause. Tens of thousands of travelers who come through Massachusetts airports are at risk of experiencing flight cancellations and delays, as you heard from the secretary this morning. Obviously, we can go on and on about the ways people in Whip Clark's home state and across the country are being forced to suffer because the Democrats refuse to reopen the government. But they don't care, because to them, suffering is leverage. To them, this is one big political game. It doesn't matter that millions of Americans are hurting because, as Chuck Schumer says, every day gets better for us. What a disgusting, despicable mentality to have. The truth of the matter is, Democrats could end their shutdown madness today if they would simply do their jobs. All they have to do is stop playing politics, pass our clean CR, and reopen the government for the people they were elected to serve. We're going to continue giving them opportunities to do the right and reasonable thing. The question is not whether they are able. The question is whether they are willing. I hope they come to their senses soon. But until then, we're going to hold them to account, and we expect everyone in this room to do the same. Lisa McClain.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden
I'm going
patio,
into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President Trump.
Since day one of this administration, Trump and Republicans have been trying to gut our government, rip away essential health care, lay off our federal workforce, and to cut critical services that are a lifeline for our communities. They have continued to advance policies that make us all hungrier, poorer, sicker, and less safe. And now, Republicans have shut down the government instead of coming to the table with Democrats to address the healthcare crisis that they created. If you live in the MA7 and you are being directly impacted by the cruelty of this Republican shutdown, I welcome your story and I want to hear from you. Y'all know what I believe. The people closest to the pain should be the closest to the power, driving and informing the policymaking. I want to hear from you. Please go to my website and submit your experience at pressley.house.gov/share your story. Again, that's pressley.house.gov/share your story. I'm fighting for you because I know that your lives and livelihoods are at stake. So tell us about how you're being affected and how my office can best support you.
Let me bring in Texas Congressman and Chairman of the House Small Business Committee, Roger Williams. Congressman, nice to see you. You know, I think real Americans can condemn political violence. The excusing of political violence or the promotion of political violence being undertaken by Democrats, it's part of the reason why I say the Democrats have lost millions of their own voters and why they're being rejected by an overwhelming number of independents. It's my contention, though, that Democrats have been emboldened to do this stuff by their fringe base and also by virtually no pushback from your party, from Republicans. Where am I going wrong?
Well, I think it's evident that the Democrats have gone way, way left. I mean, one thing you didn't bring up is of course, they threaten every bit their language they use. I mean, the four-letter words they use, just that's normal thinking they're going to gain votes through that. You know, they've gone just a different direction. And I don't know. I mean, I think more of our conservatives should stand up against it. I think I do. And a lot of my colleagues do. But what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and we need to stand up for it because this is a time, and you bring it up all the time, Chris, this is a defining moment of our country. Are we going to have a socialistic country? We're going to have a communistic country? We're going to elect people in New York that are basically communists? Or are we going to get our country back and get less government, do great things, and rely on the private sector?
Well, meanwhile, Mr. Chairman, the Democrats, they now own the longest full government shutdown in U.S. history. We've had longer partial government shutdowns. And Americans know that the Democrats are to blame. Listen as CNN says President Trump's approval rating is up as the Democrat Schumer shutdown drags on.
In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this. The first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018-2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
Congressman, we're hearing the Democrats now want to keep the government shut down into Thanksgiving, apparently to punish Americans for abandoning them and supporting President Trump. What are you hearing? Is this going to go on to Thanksgiving?
Well, I've heard the very same thing. It could go to Thanksgiving. But the whole thing is, Chris, we signed a clean CR. It's, as you know, you reported it. It's the same CR that they did 8 or 9 times under Biden. This is all political. It's all political based on Schumer. And they're holding the American people hostage. They're holding Main Street hostage, small businesses hostage. They need to sign this thing, and then we'll talk about it. But I'm not one like you would be. I'm not going to We don't want to extend Obamacare. We don't want money going to illegals. We just need to get the government back in business and take care of the people, and then have the dialogue if they want to do that. But the American people aren't stupid. I'm glad to see that that's polling like that, because they realize it's a Schumer shutdown.
True, true. You know, as a conservative, I've always said that if your business out there is reliant on the government to survive, then you don't have a very good business model. That said, the Democrat Schumer shutdown is having some impact on the small businesses of America that is not related to doing direct business with the government. Tell us what you're seeing.
Well, absolutely. As you mentioned, I chair the Small Business Committee, and 99% of the businesses in America are small business. And they're getting hurt. I mean, it's not the fact they do business with the government, just their normal business. They're losing access to capital. The SBA, which many rely on, is shut down. There's businesses are just frozen. They can't expand. They may have to let someone go because they don't know when the check's going to come. They're not able to buy their inventory, so they sell it because they don't have access to capital. So it's been a real mess for
NATO,
for small businesses.
Highly respected. Almost every country in Europe. I think you can almost take away the almost pretty soon.
And they are starting that meeting right now from the White House. Great timing. I want to say thank you to Congressman Roger Williams as we go to the White House here on the Chris Salcedo Show. Thank you.
Right now, we're joined by a man who is in the thick of trying to end this shutdown, Senator Jon Husted. Now, Senator, it appears that there's a stalemate right now, with the biggest sticking point for Democrats appearing to be health care. Now, we've now tied the record for the second longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Do you see an end in sight?
Well, unfortunately, I don't see an end in sight at the moment. We have voted 11 times. I have voted 11 times to open the government back up, and it's pretty simple. The Congress has to pass 12 appropriations bills to fund the government. We've passed 4. We need to continue to fund government at its current levels so that we can finish our work. And during the Schumer shutdown, Chuck Schumer seems unwilling to do that. Understand, we'll keep talking, we'll keep working, but let's open up the government. Let's start paying the air traffic controllers. Money's going to run out for the hunger programs. It's going to run out for pay for the military. We got to get the government back open and continue to do our work.
Now, Senator, while this has all been going on, you have been making some other moves, including refusing to take a paycheck of your own until Congress funds the government, and you introduced the Pay Our Military Act.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason that members of Congress should get paid if the rest of the people coming to work every day don't. Many members of Congress are still getting paid. I don't think we should get paid. I think that puts pressure on people to go do their jobs and get the government back open. And I'm also trying to, we should never, they are essential for economic security, our national security. We should never pay people who are going to work, particularly men and women of our military. And I've introduced legislation to make sure that in the future that never happens.
All right. Well, Senator, you are starting your 10th month in office now. A lot has gone on since you stepped into this role. Has this time gone by quickly for you, or?
In some ways it has. In some ways it's been very long. We've been in session more days than I think the Senate has been in 35 years. But we've got some important work done. We ended up an reconciliation bill that cut taxes for working families in this country, eliminating taxes on tips, eliminating taxes on overtime, cutting taxes on Social Security, tax credits for working families to pay for childcare and things like that. So those are the things that help the people of Ohio. So when you focus on the good things that you can do, the job is a lot of fun, but government shutdowns certainly aren't. We need to stop this ridiculousness, get the government back open and go back to work.
All right. Well, Senator, I know you got a lot of work ahead of you. We wish you the very best of luck and hope to talk to you soon.
Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden
I'm going
patio,
into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President Trump.
Hey, everybody. I'm back in D.C. for a couple days this week, and we're now over 3 weeks into a government shutdown. And the sad truth is that Republicans are unwilling to just accept reality. which is that people all across the United States are already receiving letters indicating that their health care premiums are going to double next year if they get care through the Affordable Care Act. Of course, this is going to impact everybody with health care, whether you're on the ACA exchange or not, because millions and millions of people are going to be priced out of the system, not be able to afford health insurance. That's going to make everybody's health care more expensive. We are ready, willing, and able to negotiate on this. We want to find common ground to protect the health care of millions of Americans. The Republicans have no interest whatsoever in working with us, and that is very clear here, now the fourth week into this, here in Washington, D.C.
2009.
Look, what I've been saying is that I'm sure there are many good people who participated yesterday because they aren't happy with the direction of this country. We see the pendulum swing. People were not happy with open borders and high inflationary spending under President Biden. We swung it back. They don't want to see the pendulum go so far. They want centrist government. That's what I truly believe. But this group is associated with the radical left. On their flyer, look at the sponsors. You had the Communist Party of the United States of America. You had the Socialist Party of America. These are radical left groups. They are the sponsors of this march. So the good people that were there because they wanted to send a message, guess what? They've associated themselves with communists. And that, to me, I think is just unacceptable.
Each of those attacks is another 5 seats in the House.
But you know what?
Keep going,
it's not an attack.
I should shut up.
It's not like I'm making it up. It's on the flyer. You know, like you're marching at an event in which the Communist Party was the sponsor. I know, it's hysterical, right? But it's sad, actually. Because
you're my favorite communist, Paul.
It's self-destructive.
Well,
it's fine.
All right, we're going to have...
Hi, folks. It's Congresswoman Andrea Salinas. And we are heading into week 4 of the Republican shutdown. Instead of deciding that healthcare and affordable healthcare is more important, Republicans decided to shut down the government. And they won't come to the negotiating table. It has been 4 weeks. I'm here. I'm showing up. I have decided that those 16,000 people who are currently getting notices that their premiums could more than double, that this is important, that we cannot let that happen. It can't happen to Connie. They can't happen to Linda. They can't happen to Steve. They can't happen to so many people who have been writing in, asking me to make sure that we come to the table, that we prevent Republicans from increasing their health care costs. This is serious business, but what Republicans are doing is not normal. This is not right. So I'm here. I'm ready to get to work. We need to call the Republicans back. They're not doing it. They're not doing it for their districts. They're certainly not doing it for the Oregonians who are going to be hurt by this. I'm here. I'm ready to get to work.
Mr. President, under your leadership, for the first time, there is a newly created National Intelligence Fusion Cell at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism, that has a very simple purpose: to make sure that we have two-way intelligence sharing of actionable information between the intelligence community and law enforcement. I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible.
Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden
I'm going
patio,
into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President Trump.
This is needless politics by the Democrats. We have people that are really paying the price. This weekend, I traveled all over the state of Alabama. I talked to people who had been furloughed. I talked to small business owners who said, look, we can't make it one more week. I talked to people who felt like that we were way out of touch up here, not making sure that the resources that they depended on were there. And so I think we've got to get back and make sure that the Democrats open the government so that people can get their paychecks, so that WIC can continue, and truly so that things like food stamps don't run out. There are real issues that are coming to play because of the politics that Democrats are playing.